To many people, the Japanese Cemetery Park is just a simple burial ground for the soldiers that sacrificed for World War II. Yet many fail to realize the actual purpose of the park.
This cemetery has tell us the story of the Japanese community here. Just kind of the victim, I think, of this war. I feel sorry for that actually.
The most significant tomb is the massive burial of 10,000 soldiers. Initially, when the Japanese invaded Singapore for her raw materials, the Japanese constructed a memorial tower at Bukit Batok. However, with the defeat of the Japanese in the Second World War, they destroyed the memorial tower and shifted 10,000 ashes to the Japanese cemetery.
Well, unfortunately, not many Japanese people knows about it. This is, of course, this is the biggest Japanese cemetery in this region, but still the small and not really so famous in Japan. So not many people knows about it. But this cemetery is actually give us a lot of lessons. We must know the history, and then we can the right recognition of the history is actually contribute or give us the a lot of lesson to get a better relationship with the other countries. So I think that this cemetery is very important for us. So we have to introduce this cemetery to the Japanese community or Japanese visitors from Japan, and appeal and urge them to go to the cemetery and then to learn some history. You see, and then they can value the existing friendship with the Singapore.
In the 19th century, a rubber plantation owner, Mr. Otokichi, donated 7 to 8 hectares of land for the burial of the poor Japanese women in Singapore. Like many others, the poor Japanese women left their hometown to Singapore in seek of jobs. Being uneducated, they were unable to get proper jobs and thus were forced to take the path of becoming prostitutes.
Well, I think the visitors are less and less nowadays. This cemetery has been the cemetery park since 1973. So there are no new burials there. And then I think the latest, the new tombstone, the grave is during the Second World War. So since then, 16 years has passed. So relatives already grown up. I mean, they become aged. So the Japanese people who is some way associated with this cemetery has been become all aged nowadays. So that's why the person who visit and they respect this cemeteries become less and less.
If you take a tour around the Japanese cemetery park, you will realize that the tombstones there differ in shapes and sizes. Mr. Sugino stated, "In the past, rich people can afford to have a grand tomb, and often the poorer ones will tend to have a small and plain tomb. It also applies to the tombs in the Japanese cemetery park. The poor Japanese women can only afford to have a small tomb. Those grand tombs naturally belong to the rich people like the merchants, generals, and poets." Today, the Japanese Association hosts tours around the Japanese cemetery park to educate the people about the hardships that the World War II brought about.